Hello everybody, 'tis I, the Rumpled One. It is Sunday, July the 1st, 2012. I was hanging out with some of my friends the past week, as you know, and some of my friends here in this rural part of America don't watch the news. They don't read the newspaper. They don't look at the news on the internet. They have decided that it's not important to them. Based on that they're not getting involved in it. And by doing that, they don't really get upset over some of the things that I would get upset on because I watch the news. They're not upset about all those executive orders Obama has penned. They don't even know about them. They don't feel the effects of them. I mean, in reality, in a way, I don't either, but I know they're there. I know that the government could come in and crush me if they decided to. But my friends don't worry about that. No, they're busy doing their job, their work, working on their place, their garden, tending to their animals, mending fences, carrying water, chopping wood. They got a lot to do to keep busy, cutting down trees and brush and they're mowing grass. They have more than enough to do than to spend any time fretting or worrying about the government or politics. Some people, on the other hand, they know things exist out there, or they know about prepping, but they're kind of under the normalcy trap where they just think things are always going to be normal. That you be able to go to the grocery store and buy what you want. Be able to go to the gas station and fill your tank. They don't think about those times where there could be a disruption. Oh, they know they should store some water, but some of them do, some of them don't. See, some of the people here might live in the city, in Mayberry as I like to call it, where they have a little plot of land and they got a next door neighbor and neighbor right across the street and all. So they don't really have a lot of land to store things and have a barn or anything, but they might have a garage or maybe a little shed out back. But they're not putting up hundreds or thousands of gallons of water or a couple 100 pounds of rice and beans. They might have their pantry somewhat stocked, their kitchen cupboards, but they don't have a room or rooms dedicated to preps. They just in a way don't want to think about it. And some people take the attitude, well, if it was meant to be, it would be, and that's just something that's like hearing fingernails across a chalkboard. That mindset, if it was meant to be, it will be, is basically, to me, just throwing your hands up saying, what can I do about it? It's a refusal to take responsibility and a refusal to take action. That's my opinion. But I was thinking about it because I talked, like I said, spent time with some friends and I talked to a couple of them and they're just really not concerned or not informed about current events. And so I was thinking, it's like, if it works for them, I guess that's okay. Then I remembered Harry Brown, How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World. Right here, Harry Brown. Favorite book. Call it one of my Bibles. Because usually, if I'm stuck on something, Harry's got an answer for me. In fact, he has 3 principles for dealing with government. I'll read. 3 principles. The first principle in dealing with government then is don't be awed by it. What little the government accomplishes is almost always due to the voluntary participation of its citizens. Those who don't want to help the government can go their own ways without running into much trouble. The second principle is don't confront the government. A sure way to make your life miserable is to attack the government head on. Its resources are limited, and it can't waste them tracking down every possible violator of every law. But it will certainly aim its power at anyone who publicly defies it. So keep to yourself, do what you have to do. The third rule in dealing with governments is don't organize. Don't get a large group of people together to defy tax laws, promote ways of circumventing the government, or openly violate regulations. By joining protests, you might wind up in jail, and you won't have much freedom there. And mass campaigns are easy targets. That's where the government is likely to devote its limited resources. When many people are doing the same thing, it's easy to stop them by passing laws or applying existing laws against them. When you act alone, however, you're usually not worth the trouble. So, think about that. Don't be awed by the government. I mean, when you think about it, they're a bunch of buffoons, most of them. I mean, there's some good people working for the government. And I was just up at the Department of Forestry the other day, and the people were very helpful. Also with the fire protection. I was asking a few questions because I'm going to clear some of the land around the house here, make sure, you know, I've got if there's a fire catch on, that my house don't get burned down. It's made of wood. So I'll be taking some action to clear some of that, and I'll let you in on, you know, how that's going. But the point is, most of them, they're buffoons. Don't confront the government. Well, I've made that mistake a few times, and it's turned out okay sometimes. Sometimes it hasn't. But, I mean, if you think about it, you don't want to attack somebody bigger or more powerful for you head on. If you're going to do it, you got to do a sneak attack. And don't organize. Well, you know, group dynamics. People waste more time voting on stuff in groups than actually getting anything done. But I just thought I'd share those thoughts with you, and I'm kind of curious, you know, I would wager if you're watching this video, you're probably informed on current events, you probably keep up on current events, but on the other hand, you might know some people who don't. And how do you feel about it? Do you think they're, you know, letting somebody else, you know, take the responsibility that they should be taking? Or do you think maybe they're a little bit smarter than we are, and so they're just going about living their lives and not really worrying about anything big or even small? They're just, it's not concerning them. They'd rather just focus on what they need to do to take care of themselves and not get involved and not be bothered and not be stressed or worried, and just not even let any of that even get in their head. Maybe they have it right, or if it works for them, they do have it right. So, and if you are somebody who's like that, I'd really like to hear from you. If you can, make a video response, because I just find it interesting. And I'm not the type of person to tell somebody else how to live. I'll tell you how I do, or how, you know, how I think things work. But I'm always open and curious about how other people think, especially when they think differently. So I'd like to hear from you. And in the meantime, if you fail to prepare today, you're preparing to fail tomorrow.